What's going up, everybody? It's Chini the Great back for another arty video. So you may have seen the 24 watercolor paintings in one day video, and I had a lot of fun with it, but more than that, I learned a lot with it. Like, the reason I did it was because I was really new to watercolor and I was really intimidated by watercolor. So I just wanted to dive in and learn a lot, and I did. So I wanted to do the same thing with acrylic. So now I'm painting 24 acrylic paintings in one day. And the way I did it was I had acrylic paper that I cut down to 4 inches by 6 inch sheets. And that's what I'm painting on right now. And I taped those up to my drawing board so that I could put it on the easel and work on a bunch of paintings at one time. And it went by a lot faster. I think I did all these paintings in about 8 hours. And that was with a couple small breaks in between, and of course, like letting things dry. But working on a lot of paintings at one time as opposed to the watercolor video really made it go by a lot faster and gave me more stuff to work on, so I wasn't getting bored with the same picture. But I just wanted to keep things simple, make really loose artwork. None of these are super amazing or refined. This was just an exercise. I do like how a few of these turned out, but this isn't meant to be like the best paintings ever. These are just to get my toes wet and to learn a little bit about watercolor. So the point of doing so many paintings in such a short amount of time is to really give yourself the opportunity to learn a lot. So I did a few different subject matters. I did a lot of landscapes, like you can see here, but I also did some silly, just kind of cartoon characters and foods and just silly little pictures. And I like how some of them turned out, and I don't like how others turned out, but that's alright. I actually sold one of these already, so I'll point it out later on in the video which one I sold. But if you want to get your hands on any of these, they're all for sale. I'm going to leave a link to my website in the description below, but it's chinawrites.weebly.com. So I'll leave that on the screen there for you, and it's also at the end of the video. But that's also my writing website, so it looks like a writer's website, but if you go to the shop tab, these pictures will be up, and just let me know which one you want to get when you place the order, and I'll make sure you get the correct picture that you're wanting. But I did have a lot of fun with these. So this is actually the second set of landscapes that I did that you're viewing right now, and I was really not happy with the first set. I guess my expectations were too high, or I was just kind of, I hadn't loosened up at that point. I was still really stiff and wasn't, I don't know, I needed to loosen up, I guess, but I wasn't super stoked on the first set of landscapes. This set here I like much more, but I was watching Bob's Burgers the whole time, as you can see right there on my laptop. But the first set of landscapes, they didn't turn out bad, they just looked a little bit silly. Like, I didn't want them to look silly, and they did kind of turn out a little bit silly. So for the second set of paintings I did, which is these right here, I thought, why not make some silly paintings? If what I'm painting right now looks silly, I might as well try some silly subject matter, and maybe it'll look alright. So I did a few little cacti and a few different types of food, but like cartoon foods. And these were fun. I thought I was going to just do only landscapes during this exercise, but I think it's good to paint different things and to change up the subject matter a little bit. And this also just appeals to a different type of audience, or a different type of viewer or buyer that maybe they're not interested in landscapes. So this just appeals to a different type of person. But I did have fun, like, making cute little things, just simple things. Yeah, so I don't know. In the future, I think I'm gonna really go with more landscapes, just because out of all of the paintings I did that day in this video, the ones I really, really liked the way they came out the most were the paintings of clouds and the paintings of the ocean, and those were my favorite. Like, the paint, I'll give close-ups to all these at the end of the video, so I know you can't really see all the details on these at the moment, but at the end of the video you get a close-up look at every single painting. But the ocean that was in the first clip that I painted was one of my favorite paintings that came out of this, and it was actually the first ocean I think I ever painted, and I know it's the first one I've ever done in acrylic for sure. But I actually really liked how it turned out, and it seemed like more natural, I guess, than painting some of the mountain scenes or something like that. So I think I'm going to pursue that a little bit more and practice that, and also practice the clouds, because the last three paintings I actually did them on Bristol board instead of acrylic paper because I ran out. But I love how the clouds turn out, so I'm going to paint more of those too. So what I'm painting on right here is the acrylic block, which is just those same paper sheets that I have in the other clips, but they're glued into a block so that when you paint on it, it stays flat, and there's a little section that doesn't have any glue, so you could stick your palette knife in there and get the piece of paper off the top, and then your next one is underneath that and clean and ready to go. So, I liked painting on that, but I think I used Mod Podge, and I think that was the wrong type of glue, because it seemed a little bit too strong, and I tore a couple of the pages when I was trying to get them off the block, but it did keep everything flat, so I think if I were to do that again, I would just use a different type of glue. But these paintings right here are actually the first set of paintings I did of the day, and I'm not super excited about any of these, I don't think. Well, there is, I think the one I'm painting right now. Nope. Never mind. I'm not super stoked on any of these. And, but, you know, it's fine. The one I'm, at the top left-hand corner there is actually the first painting I did that day. Out of all 24, that's the first one, and that's the one I sold. So you'll get a better look at this in a second, but it's the top left-hand corner one. I already sold it, so it's awesome. And, that's cool, too, because I didn't, you know, like I said, I'm not thrilled about any of these 6 paintings here, but I guess someone thought it was good enough to purchase it. But as far as the techniques I'm using to paint these, all I used was white, black, blue, yellow, and red paint. And I think later on I did use some green. I think I used some green, and I used some brown. Okay, so the primary is white, black, green, and brown. And that's actually the only colors that I have in acrylic, because I find it very easy to mix acrylic paints and get the colors I want. So I don't think I need much more than that. But I just kind of used loose brush strokes to blend it onto the paper at first. So I like blending on the paper as opposed to blending the colors on the palette, because it just looks a little bit more natural. You get some spots with more blue or more white or more whatever colors I'm using, and I think it looks a little bit more natural, and it just looks, I don't know, kind of organic. So I'm painting the trees in the first one, which again is the one I sold, and yeah, I'm not super, I don't like too much how it turned out, but it's not awful, I guess. Like I said, I like some of these and I don't like other ones, but I did have a lot of fun painting every single one of these, and I would definitely do this again if I felt the need to. I think actually have a sketchbook I'm making that has some Bristol board in it, and I'm going to practice some acrylic paintings in a sketchbook, so I think that'll help me get a little bit better at some new subject matter. So again, I want to paint more oceans and clouds, and I haven't painted a lot, so I want to practice a little bit. But I will definitely take on some bigger projects. So I want to do acrylic paintings in a larger scale, not just these small papers. Again, this was just an exercise to kind of loosen me up and get me used to acrylics, because I haven't painted with them in a while. But I definitely will do like larger canvases with acrylics on them. And I kind of want to hone in my skills a little bit more before I do that, because canvases can be quite expensive. But I do have some 8x10s that I'm about to do some fan art on, so look out for that. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I already know exactly what I'm gonna paint, and I've been practicing like some sketches and stuff, and of course I'll do a video and show you guys that. But yeah, I tried to Bob Ross these, and I don't know if it exactly turned out. Initially I was gonna go with some reference photos, but as soon as I started painting, that totally went out the window, and I was like, fuck it, let's just paint a bunch of pictures, and that's what I did. And I think, like, again, this right here is my first set, and I think the fact that I kind of didn't like any of them helped me loosen up, because that's what you need to do. Whenever you're starting a new art project, it's overwhelming looking at a blank piece of paper, or a blank canvas, or a blank slate, whatever your medium is. It's overwhelming to start, and that's the hardest part, is starting. So once you get past that, everything else seems kind of natural. It comes a little bit more naturally, and you're able to just loosen up and go with it. And that's when art really becomes amazing, is when you're just kind of vibing with it and you're letting it do its thing. I truly believe that, like, in a painting, there's a painting that wants to come out, so it's just your job to let that painting out. You don't really control the paint. You're just letting the paint do what it wants until the right thing comes out. I know that sounds super hippie and weird, but I truly believe that in every medium as well. But, yeah, so I think I just failing with those first 6, or, like, you know, not really digging any of them, really helped me loosen up. And then again, I went into silly cacti, which I'm painting right here, and just some silly stuff because I felt silly and I wanted to paint silly stuff. And after that, the next set of landscapes I did turned out way better, I think. I don't know, tell me your opinion. Maybe you like the first set better. But I definitely like the last ones better, and I'm glad that I enjoyed the last ones more than the first ones, because that at least makes me feel like I progressed during this exercise. I may have learned something, or at least loosened up a little bit, which was the whole point. So I do like the last 3. They're coming up here in a second. They're probably my favorite. Out of everything that I painted, these are my favorite. So these are, like I said, I ran out of the acrylic paper and I started using Bristol board. And these are 5x7, so they're a little bit bigger. And immediately when I put on the paint on that first picture, I could immediately tell the difference. Like the water was kind of like sliding on the Bristol board because it's really smooth. Whereas the acrylic paper, the brand I use, is more plasticky, so it was a little bit weird to paint on. But I enjoyed painting on it. I would definitely paint on it again. But this last, and these are all just cloud paintings. And I think, like I said, I'll keep trying these out and doing them on a larger scale, because in a sense, it's kind of hard to paint on a small scale, but larger scale sometimes can be a lot harder, and some people say it's easier. Like, I don't know. I don't have enough experience. I have to try both more. But this last sunset kind of cloud scene is my favorite painting that I did in all 24 of them. So this is my very favorite. I love it. I love it. It just like you can tell right there. I mean, this video is obviously sped up. It didn't take me that long, but it just turned out so good. It like one of those times where what you envisioned actually came out on the paper. So it was really cool. So here I am just doing some last minute details on those silly characters, and I find it really hard to get fine details, like fine lines, I guess, more than details, fine lines with paint, whether that be acrylic or oil or watercolor too. I find that I can get small detail with a brush if I'm using it as a technique to blot on a huge chunk of paint, and then like the little bristles kind of form leaves, kind of like Bob Ross style. Like that way I can like get details, like I can get the illusion of small leaves by using a bigger brush. But if I want to get a thin line, it's so hard for me. So I just wanted to go ahead with the paint pen, because I already knew, like, I didn't even try it in acrylic. I was like, I'm just going to do this with the paint pen. So I'm just using some paint markers there, and I think they look better definitely with the outlines on them. But yeah, so these are my little paintings, and like I said, oh yeah, for the first cactus, it looked like he had little arms, so I gave him a happy face, a cute little face, and then the banana looked like he had arms, so I was like, I'm gonna give him an angry face. But let me know if you want to see any more of these, or if you like them or didn't like them, or if you have tips on how I can improve. Again, this was just kind of like an exercise, not really meant to have any masterpieces. But if you do have any tips, I'm definitely like happy to hear them. And if you have any ideas or what you want to see me paint in the future or make or draw, I draw too, in graphite, charcoal, whatever medium, watercolor, oil, acrylic. If you want to watch me like try something, just let me know. I'm always down to learn new things and to try new things. And I'm maybe not the best to give like tutorials at the moment, but if you have any like basic tutorials that you need, I can probably do those. Like, I actually made a video on how to stretch and prime canvas for painting, so I'll upload that here if you want it. If not, then I'm just going to keep it on YouTube. But if you want it here, I'll definitely give it to you. And yeah, so like I said, all these are available on my website, which again is chinawrites.weebly.com. And you can get any of these. They're all listed as one product, so you will have to tell me which one you want before you place an order, and I'll make sure that that's still available, and I'll make sure you get the one you want. That's the only way I can list it at the moment with Weebly. But yeah, I have really positive views after doing this exercise. I do think I learned a lot, and like, I think the biggest thing, okay, so with the watercolor ones, I think the biggest thing I learned was color mixing, and I think with the acrylic ones here in this exercise, I think the biggest thing I learned was just like loosening up, like not taking your artwork too seriously, like being able to just go with it. And I actually like that clouds too, that sunset. Anyways, just going with the vibe and going with the flow. This, like, you mess up or something doesn't turn out how you wanted it, just go with it and take it into a different direction. I think that's the beautiful thing about art. And I definitely have to keep that in mind, because sometimes I do have a very precise idea of what I want. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought, or if you want to see anything else, and check out all these on the website. And thank you for watching, guys. I definitely enjoyed myself, and I hope you enjoyed watching this. And I hope this inspires you to go out there and be a little bit creative. Go make something. If you're not a painter, go draw something, or go sculpt something, or go make a video, or go write a song, or whatever you do. Just go do something creative and constructive, because it's an important part of life is to be creative. So I truly believe that, like, put good stuff into the world. Create good stuff and put it out there. And yeah. I think that's about it for me. I think I'm just rambling now because the end of the video is coming up, and I just need 5 more seconds of words to say. So I'm just gonna keep talking because I don't want to put music over this. But yeah, there's my favorite one, that sunset right there. But bam! If anyone buys this one, I'll sign the back of it for you. So thanks for watching. See you later, guys.